Hi guys, today we are reading true accounts of people who played Bloody Mary. And these, I believe all have titles, so I will read the title with it. All of a sudden, a face popped up into the mirror. Me and my friend did Bloody Mary a while ago. We flushed the toilet and said Bloody Mary 3 times. All of a sudden, a face popped into the mirror. My friend was so scared she couldn't breathe. I slapped her in the face and she ran out. I was in there all alone. I was scared of what was going to happen next. I tried to run out, but the door wouldn't open, even though it was unlocked. She was holding it. She was back into the mirror. I saw her with the baby. She threw it to me and I didn't catch it. It disappeared. I turned on the light and there was blood on the mirror. I had a red mark on my face and so did my friend, even though she wasn't even there. It was so creepy. I still have that red mark, and so does she. We can only see it in the mirror when we turn off the lights. The weird thing is, no one but us can see it. So that's interesting. It's kind of a mix of Baby Blue and Bloody Mary. I mean, it sounds like, because they flushed the toilet at the beginning of the game, maybe... I don't know. I wonder if there's backstory if they had played Baby Blue, because it would make sense that since in Baby Blue you're flushing the baby down the toilet, if Bloody Mary then had her baby, because my first thought was, oh, maybe she thought you were flushing the baby away and got angry, but she had the baby. So I wonder if maybe they did somehow flush her baby down and then she got it, or she just didn't like the idea of them even metaphorically flushing her baby down. So that's why she got the baby and threw it. And it was more a test to see if you catch the baby, then that means, oh, you actually care and are a good person, and if you don't catch the baby, then you're not, and then you deserve to be punished. I don't know. That's interesting. Especially getting scratches that are only visible in the mirror in the dark and only by you. Almost kind of sounds like some, psyche thing of, oh, look at the mark of your negative aspect. I don't know. Interesting. Okay. The next one is called We Started Praying That It Would All Stop. We chanted Bloody Mary 3 times and nothing happened. So we just locked it off and turned the lights on. We were lying on the floor getting ready to go to bed when we heard someone walking up and down the hallway, and we knew we were the only ones home. Then I saw the hall light come on and my bathroom door flew open. and the tap started running full force and the shower came on. My friend Macy went and turned everything off and suddenly it was calm. Then we heard someone drumming their fingers on my door outside in the hall. We all held our hands up to show we weren't doing it, and it kept going. I jumped up and flung the door open and it stopped. Then my closet doors burst open. We started praying that it would all stop, and suddenly it did. Nothing has happened since, and I'm so glad. Woo, boy. Okay. So that is scary because that seems like something actually realistic, like an actual true story. Because, I mean, I can imagine, say that you have a spirit in your house, you play a game like this, then maybe you take that as an invitation to do stuff. So maybe they were like, oh, you believe in ghosts, you're calling for a ghost, let me let you know that I'm here. And so maybe they were doing it, maybe it wasn't actually Bloody Mary. But just imagine hearing noises outside your door, and if you went to actually open it up to see, and turn off the light, and Bloody Mary was right outside your door looking back at you, that would be terrifying. So again, I don't suggest playing this game, or really any of these paranormal games. There's just really nothing to gain from it. The next story is we saw an old woman with cuts on her face. I was 9 when me and my friends tried doing Bloody Mary at my house one weekend. As well as I remember, there were 5 of us, and we carried my mom's candles in the upstairs bathroom, and all 5 of us were chanting Bloody Mary. we saw an old woman with cuts on her face and chains around her neck and shoulders looking out of the mirror at us. Then the shower curtain went up in flames. We ran out of the bathroom. An older boy ran into the bathroom and luckily for us, got the fire put out. We all got in big trouble for it, and the parents thought we caught the shower curtain on fire with the candles. But we had the candles at least 6 feet away from the shower curtain when it suddenly went up in flames. I know for a fact that we did not touch that shower curtain with a candle. The next is called I Could See It Coming Closer and Closer to Me. I saw a black object in the mirror. The object was close to me now, and I was wondering what the object was. I stared at it for the longest time to make out what it was. I looked behind me again to see nothing was there, and I looked back at the mirror and the object was closer. I got scared and started to move back, and I could see it coming closer and closer to me. Then a hand came out of the mirror, then a whole arm. I got so scared. I closed my eyes quickly and screamed, feeling for the light switch. I kept feeling around for it, too scared to open my eyes, knowing that a horrible, ugly face was staring at me. I've never been that scared in my whole life, and was glad I didn't open my eyes. I'm never going in a dark bathroom ever again. So you're in a dark bathroom with a creepy woman, and your thought is to turn the light on because you were going to see something? Wouldn't you open up the bathroom door and get out instead of fumbling to get the light on? Is that just me? I don't know. I'd be trying to get away from the creepy thing coming out of the mirror. The next one is called She Won't Tell Us What Happened. My friend had a slumber party, and they dared her to do Bloody Mary. You know, go into the bathroom, turn off the lights, light a candle, chant Bloody Mary 13 times, and she will appear. For about 15 minutes, nothing happened. Then we heard her scream, and she tried to get out of the bathroom. The door was stuck, and it didn't have a lock. When we got her out, she was crying and whimpering like a madman. We asked her what happened. She showed us her arms, and there were scars there that had never been there before. Tons of them, like 20 scars. A few days later, they disappeared. She won't tell us what happened or what she saw when we asked her about it. She just looks at us in a hateful way. Well, I mean, it's not really nice to force your friends to do a paranormal ritual, especially by themselves. I was forced to play Bloody Mary, and I was not happy about it. And I played it with my friends. To be forced to play it by yourself with the door shut and come out with scars? Yeah, I think I'd be upset too. The next one is called The Most Horrible Smell of Rotting Flesh. I and some friends were over at my grandma's house when we all went into the bathroom where we had several candles burning. Several girls were chanting Bloody Mary in that bathroom when there was a brilliant flash of light, and we all saw a very old, scary woman that looked like her flesh was rotting off, standing there in the bathroom with us. You could smell the most horrible smell of rotting flesh there in the bathroom. And then the old woman was gone. I know from then on I was scared to go back into that bathroom. About 4 months later, my friend Amber wrecked her new car. She kept telling her mom and dad and me that Bloody Mary was there in the car with her just before she wrecked, and that Bloody Mary had grabbed the steering wheel and caused her to wreck. Just a short time later, Amber was found drowned in the bathroom upstairs in her parents' house. I know I have always wondered if Bloody Mary killed Amber. I promise you this is a true story, and it still scares me. That actually reminds me of the story with the Annabelle doll. I don't remember the specifics right now, but I think it was someone went to the Warren Occult Museum where Annabelle is and made a rude comment to her, I believe, like saying, I don't know, something like you can't get me or something degrading to her, and either like a couple days later or immediately after, on his way, leaving the museum, he got into a crash and that, you know, it was supposedly Annabelle that caused that. But yeah, I will get around to making a video on Annabelle, but that just reminds me of that, you know, of getting sort of that vendetta. So I could buy it. It's very unique thing for Bloody Mary to do, because, you know, normally she'd come out of the mirror and get you immediately, not show up in your car. But an interesting story nonetheless. And the next one is called It Started Turning into a Bright Red Blob. My friend and I were in an experimental mood, so we decided to try the Bloody Mary version that I heard most often. We stopped at a gas station that had an outdoor restroom and asked if we could use it. We went into it, turned off the lights, and splashed water onto the mirror and spun around. We said Bloody Mary 3 times. Then my friend turned and flushed the toilet when I stared into the mirror. From what I could see of my reflection in the dark, it started turning into a bright red blob. In amazement, I kept staring. Then my friend started screaming and we ran out of the room in fright. When I could see her face, it was all bloody, like how I saw myself in the mirror. When we cleaned her off, she had small fingernail-type scratches all over her face. So again, this is one of those stories that I was talking about in my main Bloody Mary video, that, you know, the steps to the rituals get kind of meshy, because that was basically Bloody Mary and Baby Blue mixed together, because they splashed water onto the mirror, similar to fogging up the mirror in the Baby Blue game with multiple people. But then they spun around and said Bloody Mary like Bloody Mary, but then they flushed the toilet like Baby Blue. So maybe they, you know, they got attacked because they did the game wrong too. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't dark enough because it was a public restroom. Who knows? The next one is called Do Not Summon That Evil Witch. I went into the bathroom, turned off all the lights, and turned around 7 times while saying Be Merry on each turn. I then stopped turning and faced the mirror. I waited in silence for something to happen. I was about to leave when I heard a woman singing. I turned slowly back to the mirror and I saw her. She had long, dark brown hair that was soaked in blood. Her neck looked like someone had just slit her throat. I screamed. When my brother started banging on the door and turning the lock, she became angry. She was smiling, but then she frowned and reached out through the mirror with one bloody arm and scratched me on the right side of my face. I felt her nails strike so hard that I was knocked to the floor. My head slammed against the side of the bathtub and I was knocked unconscious. When I woke, I was in the hospital with bandages across the right side of my face. The attack was a year ago to this day. I still cannot see out of my right eye, and that side of my face is stuck in a permanent scream. No one should ever try to summon that witch that has ruined my life. Please read this and take it seriously. Do not summon that evil witch. So that's an interesting depiction of Bloody Mary. She actually was happy and acting benevolent until that peace was kind of disturbed. The next one is called I Still Don't Use That Bathroom. My friend followed me to the bathroom and stood outside. She said, I don't think you should do this. What if it's real? I was scared out of my mind, but I wanted to be the brave one. And I had always wanted to test it. So I did the same old ritual. I stared into the mirror. Nothing. I stared in all corners. Then right as I was about to turn on the switch, I caught a glimpse of someone. I looked closer. It was black and white, and her mouth was wide open. I expected to hear a scream, but there was dead silence. There was black all around her eyes, and she was a clear image. I was frozen, so I just stood there looking. Then her arms lifted up, and her hands were bright red. A few of her nails were gone, and some were just about to be peeled off. When the hands appeared to grab my shoulders, a chill ran down my spine, and a rush of cold air blew on my back. I screamed bloody murder, turned on the switch, and ran out the door. My friend was standing with her mouth open and I hugged her. I don't know why though. I started crying. I was so scared. I covered all the mirrors in my house. My mom didn't really care. I still don't use that bathroom. The next one is called We Couldn't Sleep for Weeks. We ran to the washroom and lit all the candles in there, and we all spun around with our eyes closed, chanting Bloody Mary 3 times. After the 3rd time, we opened our eyes and stared in the mirror, and I swore I saw through the mirror the window, and there was a woman all bloody, her face almost completely gone, but screaming. My friends heard the screaming, but didn't see her. I was wondering from there to now, why was I the only one who saw Bloody Mary? We couldn't sleep for weeks. The next is called He Was Too Shocked to Move. All of us crammed into my cousin's bathroom in front of the bathroom mirror and decided to chant Bloody Mary over and over again. We chanted for over 20 times, but nothing happened. Thoroughly satisfied that it was an urban legend, we were about to go out of the bathroom when a tiny green triangle started to appear in the center of the mirror. The triangle grew bigger and bigger, while me and my friends started to scream and quickly opened the door and ran to the grown-ups, my cousin's friends. While my cousin stared at the mirror, bathed in green light. He was too shocked to move, but we caught him by the arm and dragged him out of the room with the help of his friends. And realized that he was totally shocked as he was staring blankly at us with no voice. Moments later, I heard the glass mirror break into pieces. All of us, including my cousin's friends, were totally freaked out. Even now, 2 years later, we still refuse to speak of the incident, but the memory has earned a place in my mind forever. Again, that one seems more realistic too. A green triangle though, it makes me wonder what that was, what that symbolizes. I don't know, maybe I'll try looking up green triangles, see if there's some story there. If you happen to know what that might be, let me know in the comments. Okay, the next one is called Don't Open That Portal. I'm a 29-year-old woman named Amanda. I played Bloody Mary as a young girl, age 12. Nothing happened, or so I thought. I opened a portal and allowed demons of witchcraft into my soul. I underwent an exorcism. It failed. My life has been a living hell ever since. I became addicted to drugs just so I can deal with my own murderous mind. I suffer from extreme mental problems now. The demons are speaking in tongues all the time now. I have to be careful about getting mad because they take control. My husband is being haunted by my demons now. I've suffered from postpartum psychosis and had to be institutionalized for a month because I repeatedly had visions of slicing my baby's throat from ear to ear. I've been in and out of mental institutions for the past year. I hate so much. I didn't think I was capable of the thoughts I've been having. I scare myself more and more every day with the thing I am becoming. Sometimes I feel like I'm truly disconnected from myself, a truly different person sometimes. Am I capable of murder as this other person? I'm truly hellbound. Yes, I'm a former Satanist, but it all started with Bloody Mary. We all think it's a harmless child's game, but be warned, it's so much more. Don't open that portal. Children, please listen and be warned, this is not a game. Okay, this is actually not my first time reading this one. And this one really gets to me because she's blaming all of her life problems on playing Bloody Mary once when she was 12. Like, what is that, 17? Yeah, 17 years later, and all of her problems for 17 years was because of Bloody Mary. And she's saying she was a Satanist, but oh no, she only became a Satanist because she played Bloody Mary. I just don't see the connection, and she doesn't explain the connection. She basically just says, hey, I have all these issues, and it's all because I played Bloody Mary once. That I really just think that she's, over the top and doesn't want to take responsibility for, the way that the path that her life has taken. So the next one is called Her Mouth Was Open Wide, but There Was Dead Silence. I played the Bloody Mary game twice. My friend and I had just watched Ghost Whisperer, and I wanted to freak her out. I scare her all the time. So first I looked into the mirror in my living room. turned around 3 times while saying Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. At first I was a little scared that she would show up. I looked deeper into the mirror and I checked all corners to see if I could see the ghost. No ghost. So I went into the bathroom, lights off and door closed. My friend followed me and stood outside. She said, "I don't think you should do this. What if it's real?" I was scared out of my mind, but I wanted to be the brave one, and I had always wanted to test it. So I did the same old ritual. I stared into the mirror. Nothing. I stared in all corners. Then right as I was about to turn on the switch, I caught a glimpse of someone. I looked closer. It was black and white, and her mouth was wide open. I expected to hear a scream, but there was dead silence. There was black all around her eyes, and she was a clear image. I was frozen, so I just stood there looking. Then her arms lifted up and her hands were bright red. A few of her nails were gone and some were just about to be peeled off. When the hands appeared to grab my shoulders, a chill ran down my spine, and a rush of cold air blew at my back. I screamed bloody murder, turned on the switch, and ran out the door. My friend was standing with her mouth open, and I hugged her. I don't know why, though. I started crying. I was so scared. I covered all the mirrors in my house. My mom didn't really care, and I still don't use the bathroom. I will never try that again, because now I believe it too well. The next one is called The Mirror Cracked. I was away at camp up in the Pacific Northwest on an island called Cortez. There were 6 of us, and we were all giggling and running in the dark. The only way we could see anything was from a small flashlight one of the girls brought. We finally made it to the bathroom, though the girls were really starting to freak each other out. The bathroom wasn't much better than our cabin, and this girl, Jessica, came up with the idea to play Bloody Mary. I was the first to agree, and the other 4 girls didn't want to be labeled as the scaredy cats, so they nodded their heads and they were in. Jessica turned off the lights and switched off the flashlight, so the only light coming into the bathroom was from the light of nearby cabins. I personally wasn't scared at all, so I went straight to the bathroom and said, "Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary." We waited. Nothing. I was about to laugh the whole thing off, when for no reason the mirror cracked right in front of our eyes. The girls screamed and ran out as fast as they could, but I was frozen. I was actually scared for the first time in my life. I felt like my legs were paralyzed, and I couldn't stop staring at the crack in the mirror, as if it was always there and we just now noticed it. I tried to slow my breathing down, when for a flash of a second I saw something move in the mirror, as if someone was standing right behind me. My legs unfroze and I ran. I ran in the dark, tripping, falling, and scraping my knees, anything to get back to my cabin. By the next morning, we were all laughing and talking as if we had just defeated a giant. But I still get freaked out whenever I think about that mirror cracking. Creepy. The next one is called A Woman Was Looking Out of the Mirror. A few years ago, I was at my friend's house across town on Friday the 13th when we got to talking about Bloody Mary. We had been reading on the internet about Bloody Mary, and me and my friends decided to try doing it that night. There was me and my friends Gail and Missy, and we were going to be spending the night at Gail's house. I would have never took part in what we did that night if I had known what was going to happen to us that night. We got several candles, and as Gail had her own bathroom, we set up the candles in there in front of the big mirror and got ready. We sat up all night talking and scaring the hell out of each other, and then at about 5 minutes till 3 a.m., we went to the bathroom and used a match to light the candles. There were 3 of us girls in the bathroom, and we chanted Bloody Mary 13 times. As I said Bloody Mary about the 13th time, we saw smoke swirl around the mirror, and we saw a scary as hell old woman looking out of the mirror at us. We all 3 screamed, and I think Gail turned the light on. Bloody Mary vanished almost at once, and Gail's mother came running into the bathroom to see what was going on. She made us go to bed, but we stayed awake till daylight. We all 3 saw Bloody Mary in that mirror that night, and I know she was very real. I can tell you that I, for one, will never do Bloody Mary again. It scared the hell out of us, and there is no way it could have been a trick. I've heard of bad things happening to people who have seen Bloody Mary, but as luck would have it, me and my friends are okay. At least, so far, anyway.